On the first shift of the third period, Toronto tied the game, and Al Montoya, the backup, has now left with an injury.
Florida Panthers don't have an eligible goaltender in the building.
Buffalo's best hockey show every Monday night.
What a wild situation. Roberto Luongo in street clothes comes out in the tunnel to talk to trainer Dave Zanobi. There's Dale Talon on Luongo's left. Luongo appears to be pointing to the area where maybe he caught the puck. Gerard Gallant is down there.
Rob Tallis is all dressed up looking professional right there. Rob Tallis' last NHL game, February 19th, 2001.
Al Montoya is slow moving and still playing hurt. Really looking for some help out there. And now Gerard Gallant is waving Montoya to the bench, and Rob Tallis is going to join the game. Unbelievable. Montoya is crawling to the bench. He can't skate over on his own power. Tallis is off the bench, making his way to the net. Slowly. Montoya is just trying to inch his way towards the bench, while Rob Tallis is still heading to the net. Tallis is now to the blue line. Montoya has reached the face-off circle, still crawling to the bench. And there goes Tallis over the blue line. Montoya is crying for someone to come get him off the ice. And Rob Tallis is still making his way to the net. How is this not too many men on the ice? Here's Phil Kessel with a shot that misses the net. Now Tallis falls hard to the ice, and now he can't get up. Tallis is now pleading for someone to help him up. Kessel gets the puck again and shoots it wide. We have two goaltenders who can't get up, and no one's coming to their aid. And now Roberto Luongo has miraculously come back to the ice, and he is dressed in bubble wrap. The Panthers training staff have wrapped Luongo in layer upon layer of bubble wrap, and nothing is going to hurt him now. Rob Tallis and Al Montoya still haven't reached it to the bench. How is this not a penalty? And now the whistle blows, and the paramedics have finally arrived to help Tallis and Montoya get to their feet. Someone must have called Life Alert from the bench for assistance. They're both helped off the ice, and now we're ready to go once again. And yet no penalties are going to be called for too many men. Unreal.
Now, here are your hosts, Nick Lippa and Jack Sullivan on Buffalo's original alternative, 91.3 FM, WBNY.
91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative since 1982. Brought to you by the Buffalo State College Student Activity Fee. Oh, dandy. Here we are a week after the trade deadline, watching some glorified hockey here on neutral ice. I'm here, Nick Lippa, here with Brayton Wilson, Chris Kowalchuk, Frank the Tank Arcuri, Joe DiBiase, and Derek Kramer. How's everybody doing?
Oh, we're just fine and dandy. Thank you, Nick.
Brayton, you have two choices for game of the night. Either
Edmonton.
Furman versus Wofford, college basketball, or the Lion King.
Edmonton, Detroit.
I'm going to choose the little train that could.
Ooh.
Oh.
Solid one. Translation to the listeners, it's definitely going to be Edmonton in the hopes that Edmonton can beat Detroit. Fun fact for you guys out there, Edmonton's up 1-0 right now.
And out shooting Detroit 14-4.
I need Detroit to go to the Cup, so
They can lose this game, though.
Devils probably.
I will tell you this right now. The Edmonton Oilers are clearly miles ahead of the Buffalo Sabres and Arizona Coyotes to anybody who watches these teams play.
apparently Joe's watched every game.
Yes, I have. They are the dumbest team I've ever seen in my life, though.
Who?
Edmonton.
Oh.
It's hilarious.
Why is that?
Their goaltending is pathetic. I think you saw Victor
come on.
Vats,
Play nice.
tore his hamstring in a shootout.
Blake Wheeler shot. That was
like
you don't like to wish injury upon people, but that was one of the funnier things I've seen.
If Toronto didn't exist, Edmonton would make me laugh more than any other team.
Oh, my God. And not to mention Ben Scrivens, he's always notorious, even when he was in Toronto, for giving the puck away.
Edmonton up right now, 1-0 on Detroit. Don't worry, Edmonton has plenty of time to find a way to lose in the third period. Just remember, the Sabres have had leads after one period many times this year and found a way to lose. Bad teams find a way to lose.
Goals sometimes.
Yeah. That being said, right now, we're Buffalo. Obviously, we should talk about how poorly Buffalo is, what they are, and the future of Buffalo. And that's the first topic of the night for the Buffalo Sabres, the future of the head coaching position, Ted Nolan.
Tank report.
Exactly, the tank report right now. It's been going off. Big question to you guys out there, including Brayton, everybody here. What's going to happen to Ted Nolan, or should I say when is it going to happen to Ted Nolan?
Can it just happen already?
Oh, he gone.
I mean, it's almost ridiculous. the thing about this whole situation is that this team obviously isn't going to get any better. And obviously people are saying, like, well, you got to keep Ted Nolan, blah, blah, blah. But what is Ted Nolan doing to try and improve this team? I mean, everybody's saying, like, this is Ted Nolan's team. Nobody's telling him what to do. Nobody's telling him what not to do. So, I mean, it's almost like these guys don't respond to Ted Nolan in the locker room. I mean, why can't it just happen already? Let Brian Trottier take over the rest of the season. Because how much more of a difference is Brian Trottier going to make than Ted Nolan at this point?
The compete level is not going to be as high.
They just need some heart and grit.
Wow. For those who couldn't discern, that was sarcasm. And I swear to God, if you were like, yeah, heart and grit sounds good, yeah, I want you to listen to the show because you're going to be educated further on why it's not heart and grit.
It'll
I don't
sound
know.
like this.
I don't know if you remember that night we were playing NHL and Brayton was like announcing the games, and every time we went to the color commentator, it was just like, wow, Cody Hodgson's showing a lot of heart and grit out there.
Cody Hodgson. Fourth line Hodgson. Oh, boy. I do want to give a congrats. Everybody start clapping. Just do it. That's for you, Cody Hodgson, who we know you're obviously listening into the program right now. Cody Hodgson, thank you. You finally made it past the fourth line. That was great. Cody Hodgson, in the biggest news of the week, obviously, Cody Hodgson was not on the fourth line. He was on the third line. They lost all their players, and Cody Hodgson got promoted to the third line.
My gird.
Oh, my gosh. So I was thoroughly surprised. I thought that he would never get put off the fourth line.
No. They reserved it now for Mikhail Grigorenko.
As we talk about Nolan, and we'll talk about Nolan more, but Brayton has probably the most informative. You can spew this out the fastest. Talk about Nolan's comments on Grigorenko.
Oh, let me pull those up really quick.
Oh, yeah, those were fun.
This is basically what happened is Ted Nolan, and Brayton's going to give you the details here in a second. Ted Nolan came out after the game and basically just called out Grigorenko like, hey, you suck. I hate your lack of effort, and I hope one day you figure it out, because if you don't, then you're never going to be an NHL player, because what you're doing right now is not working. This coming to a guy who's been injured for the majority of the season and is a very young player.
Well, not the majority of the season, but he's been
majority of this year.
He was recently injured.
The majority of 2015. That's what I mean. The calendar year. So.
The calendar year.
Yeah. No. Basically, Ted Nolan just called Mikhail Grigorenko lackadaisical. Can describe his play as lackadaisical, and yeah, I mean it's pretty embarrassing. He said, quote, I didn't like his play. For him to play at this level, especially with that much skill, he has to bring a little bit more than what he had. You don't really want to sit back and hope for things to work. You've got to make them work like everybody else. I just felt his play on certain parts was very, quote unquote, lackadaisical. Didn't have any energy or urgency in his game whatsoever. Hopefully he'll catch that one day. He continues to go on to say, we could have about keeping him up here. We could have argued that and said, hey, let's keep him up here. But he didn't give us enough of that to argue for.
I really just think that Ted Nolan only wants hardworking Brian Flynn Canadians.
And Brian Flynn's not even Canadian.
See?
He wants Latvians, let's be honest. He wants Latvians. No, the thing that you can see here right now. It's a bold strategy, I'll tell you that much. The thing that the thing that we look right here in Buffalo with Ted Nolan, he doesn't believe in advanced statistics. He is not somebody who is going to win a game and go by numbers. He's going to be somebody who goes by his eye, and it's an outdated coaching fashion. Can we all agree to that?
It is. I think I think the days of having Dominic Hasek save you games and steal them in 1999 has kind of passed by common sense here.
Yeah, no, that's really true. But how have the Sabres won games this year?
With goalies that stole games.
Yeah. Goaltending performances. Maybe a goalie, maybe by the name of.
Not here anymore.
Maybe a goalie by the name of.
I don't know.
Enross,
I have
Michael
no
Neuvirth.
idea.
I was setting you up for Scott Sterling so well. I was hoping you had the Scott Sterling one so much there. We'll come back to it later. I want to hear it. But that being said, Ted Nolan.
Your effort there was lackadaisical.
Oh, man. Maybe I won't be back next year.
I mean, I did trade 4 first rounds for you.
No, but Mikhail Gregor. Now, here's the question. Let me go from that. So, does anybody think that Nolan's actually going to be back next year?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
I think we're all in agreement with
I mean,
that.
Nolan got a 3-year contract, but I think that was more of a facade to basically say, well, you'll get a little bit of money when we fire you. So, here you go. Yeah, I don't even know how his contract works to be honest, right now. But I do know Ted Nolan is most likely going to be fired after leading one of the worst teams in NHL history this year. And we can say worse, because when you talk about what the Sabres are approaching as far as Corsi is concerned, they are among blowing out the league's worst of worst since it was recorded as a statistic.
They're almost at expansion team level bad.
Is that fair to say, Brayton?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
Just double checking. So the question I have to build off of that right now is Mikhail Grigorenko.
Mm-hmm.
Will he be re-signed? How much? And will he be on the Sabres next year?
I think he's going to be re-signed at least to like a 2-year bridge contract, one of those bridge contracts, but it's not going to be anything that he's making right now. I think he makes a little over $1 million. That was before he was signed. He was signed before the NHL lockout, and they put a restricted, and they put a salary cap on all rookies at a maximum. So,
which is $925,000 or $50,000?
$925,000.
Okay,
and I think that he's going to be re-signed. If he wants to keep playing for the Sabres organization and wants to re-sign, he's going to be re-signed for much less, probably around the $900,000 range. That would be my guess. And here's what I would propose for the deal: is the first year of the deal, it's a 2-way contract where you can go back and forth between AHL and NHL as much as you want. And if you make the team, you make the team, great, and we don't have to worry about sending you back. However, the second year of the contract is a 1-way contract. That is, you got to make this team. You have to earn yourself on this team. If you don't, we're going to have to put you on waivers, or we're going to have to trade you.
Yeah,
and that's probably the only way to really kick Mikhail Grigorenko into that gear of, hey, it's not working out right now. You really have got to figure your game out somehow, some way.
Can I ask a question to you right now? Is there a contract like that in the NHL? Have you seen that before?
Well, it was with Matt Ellis. I think this year. It was his last year of his deal. 2 years ago, he was re-signed to a 2-year deal, similar deal. It was a 2-way contract the first year, and then this year was a 1-way contract. At the beginning of the year, they had to put him on waivers to send him to Rochester. And now, if he were to go back again, which probably won't happen the rest of the year, he'd have to go through waivers again.
Very interesting. What do you guys think about Grigorenko at Studio B?
I think the 2-year contract's absolutely fair. Give him probably around the same as what he's making now, and then really just let it all be on him.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a place for him anymore. I mean, clearly in the organizational depth chart, we're pretty deep at center right now, especially with the draft coming up. So I think if he wants to make it, he's going to have to play wing, especially going forward in the future. I think he'll get, because he's going to be an RFA, get that 2-year bridge contract like Brayton said, so that he'll be an RFA again once that contract's over. But I don't see him getting any big sort of money, nor should he think he should be able to get any.
Yeah, we haven't really heard much about it, too. Not a lot of people have talked about Grigorenko's contract being up and what's going to happen at the end of the year. Haven't heard too many people discussing it.
Yeah, also to be fair, though, with Grigorenko, I'm in the camp that I do believe that there is a place for him in this organization. Like Joe said, probably he has to kick over to wing. That might actually benefit him as, trying to be able to make it onto this roster. But I still believe he's very talented, and he still has not really gotten his fair shake. I mean, you had Ron Rolston and Ted Nolan as his coaches, who obviously Rolston was a joke in itself, and then Ted Nolan is just, I don't know what it is. I just don't think that he wants Mikhail Grigorenko.
Grigorenko is a horrible skater.
Yeah, he's gotten better, but he's still bad.
Yeah, he like when I played hockey, I was a horrible skater, and he skates like I skated. So, I mean that's a fair comparison.
Takes one to know one. Chris Kowalchuk, everyone.
Yeah.
Remember, this is his third coach too, because Ruff coached them a little bit at the beginning too. All 3 coaches have had bad things to say about him. His teammates in his rookie year always were talking about like he was always ignoring veterans and like he's always had a bad attitude. I mean, at least he has a better attitude now, but I mean, it just seems like all problems when it comes to him, and his days might be numbered.
Interesting. Any final thoughts, Brayton, on this matter?
Well, I had something in my head, and I totally forgot what I was going to say about it. I think it was something on the terms of with Grigorenko and just, I don't know.
Was it?
That's not true.
Was it something that you were about to say about Grigorenko? When I said not a lot of people were talking about his contract being up.
Oh yeah, right. Well, you pointed it out earlier, Nick. if Tim Murray had a feeling that he wasn't going to be here next year, wouldn't you have
Would've
thought
been
that he
traded.
would have been traded at the trade deadline?
100%.
And I mean, I understand that maybe another team wouldn't have wanted to take on him if Tim Murray was asking too much, but still, it's just, you would think you would have heard something more than what we heard about a potential Grigorenko trade if he doesn't want to be here. So I think the fact is Grigorenko wants to be here. He just wants to be in Buffalo and not playing in the AHL. However, he has to stay in the AHL and has to earn his spot. However, with all these injuries and if he has to come up, why not just play him? Why not just put him in these situations, get him to be able to grow a little bit in his game, give him the opportunity? What does it hurt at this point? Because your season's already lost. You've been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. It's a rebuilding stage for a reason. Give this kid a chance. Let him play on the first line. Let him play on the second line. I don't care. But don't
keep him there for the game.
And keep him there for the game. Exactly. Don't just play him 2 shifts and then say, oh, well, it's not working out. Let's bump him down to the fourth line and give him 3 more minutes for the rest of the game.
And remember, if they wanted to trade him, they could have. The Evander Kane trade, he could have been substituted in there for Joel Armia. I'm sure Tim Murray could have made that work.
Right, but the fact is that the Jets wanted Joel Armia more than Mikhail Grigorenko because he was more of a value at that point than Grigorenko was.
I agree. I think they're close enough that maybe they could have talked them into Grigorenko or threw something else in to make the value even out. But yeah, I don't know. His future has always been very cloudy to me.
Fire Darcy.
Let's give an update. Arizona's not on that bandwagon yet. Yeah, let's give an update to the folks. What was this week's? We'll start this now for the rest of the year. This week's first line for the Buffalo Sabres. The last game the Buffalo Sabres played. What was their first line? Who wants to tell me?
I know Phil Varone was the center.
Yes, he was. He scored.
Tyler Ennis and
Matt Molson.
Matt Molson.
I don't know who Phil Varone is.
Well,
now their first line center is Johan Larsson.
I know who that is.
I think, all right, these are their 4 centers.
Harry
At practice
snapped.
today, Johan Larsson was the first line center, Phil Varone second, Tim Schaller third, Matt Ellis fourth.
This is a sad day.
That sounds like
That's
fun.
a bad AHL
The
team.
quest for the tank.
This is literally the worst NHL team I think I've seen in this millennium. The one they have fielded right now. Is that fair to say?
I don't know if there's a team in the 1900s that was better than this.
Do you think the Erie Otters could beat the Sabres right now?
They might be able to.
Wow,
With the
no,
way-
I'm not going that far.
Okay, listen.
I'm not
I
going
was
that
Maybe a
at
college hockey
Okay,
team
I
could.
was at
Like
the
Boston.
game. I was at the game on Wednesday.
Where they scored
in
10
Erie.
goals?
They won 10-5 against the Barrie Colts. The Barrie Colts have been one of the hottest teams in the Ontario Hockey League since probably the 2015 calendar year. They had a red hot month of February, and then they went to Erie on Wednesday and they lost 10-5. Mackenzie Blackwood looked really bad, as did Devin Williams, or not Devin Williams. It was Daniel DeConing, but still.
The problem is Ristolainen, and if Chad Johnson's playing, there's
Chad Johnson's hurt. He might be out for the rest of the season.
He would be. If you say Anders Lindbeck is playing, I think they have a good chance. I think there's a chance. I think there's.
They might never win a game for the rest of the season. If they do, it's going to be one of those fluky. Oh gosh, we got like a really lucky goal and like 2 minutes left in the third period to tie it.
So
overtime.
you mean Wednesday against Toronto?
I was just about to say or we scored really quickly and.
Remember, they play Arizona twice too.
They also play Toronto on Wednesday.
That's the big deal. They're going to be playing Arizona twice, and they're going to be playing Toronto. So a lot to watch for Buffalo coming up. Anders Lindback, I give credit to Tim Murray. I know he says that they trade players away. Justin, that was his quote. We trade players away when you're the worst team, right? I'm not trying to tank.
Yeah, and you're building for the future.
However, you went out and got the worst goalie in the league. Now you just happened to trade one of your goalies there, but. Well, however that works out, if you're rooting for a tank and you're Buffalo, Tim Murray went out and did it.
And Matt Hackett does not look good. He did not look good at all against Washington on Saturday.
I'd still want to see him against Toronto. I want to see, obviously what he can do for the future.
Well, I think that a lot of people in the organization want to see how Matt Hackett can play at this level because he's only had 2 games now. He had one against Vancouver earlier. He had this one on Saturday, and that's it. Yeah. I think they want him to play more the rest of the season instead of Anders Lindback. However, if he continues to have games like this, it might be Anders Lindback the rest of the season, and that would
just
be
see both goalies every night.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Remember, he's been hurt for basically the whole year, and he's still not 100% healthy. He said after each game his knee still hurts. But he has been playing better in Rochester. That's why I'd like to see him get a little more action up here,
yeah, for
even if he's had a rough couple starts. But
We're probably going to see Makarov sometime soon, too.
maybe. I just don't think there's any benefit at all to
It
watching
depends.
Lindback play.
It depends if Makarov comes up. That means that Lindback is either hurt or Matt Hackett is still hurt and he won't be able to play any time period. I think that Makarov's going to stay in Rochester for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and like when he got recalled the other day, it wasn't really for him to play. It was because
Emergency.
Murray wanted Hackett to play in Rochester.
That
So
night.
why have him come up and back up so that he had Makarov come up to be the backup? Like
Right.
a situation like that, to me, is the only reason he'd be up here.
Yeah.
Unless an injury, of course.
No, yeah. Like we heard earlier on the report with the Florida Panthers. That being said, we're going to transition here. We're going to take a short break. But before we go to our break, just real quick, I want to hear from the guys in the studio. Right now, we've seen the Sabres how they are. All right, I want this week, so I can hold it up at the end where we compare. I'm going to get all the files and get all our predictions from earlier in the year. I'm going to put them together and use them on you and myself like an evil wizard. How many wins do the Sabres get from here on out? I know I asked this a couple of weeks ago. I want to hear it again. How many wins do the Sabres start from the far left in Studio A?
You mean B?
4.
Derek, whatever.
Not Derek. Derek's in the middle.
Fine.
4.
Chris says
4.
Chris says 4. I'm going to say 3.
I am also going to say 3.
I'll say it's the NHL. I'll say 5.
I was hoping someone was going to say
I
I'll take
projected
$1,
4. I
Bob.
projected 4 the rest of the season.
I'm going to go 3, but I'm going to go 2 overtime losses.
Brayton, which 4? Do you know offhand? If you
I don't
it's
remember
okay.
offhand what I projected, but I think the rest of the season,
I think they
the
said
Buffalo
Devils again.
Sabres, the rest of the season, and for those who don't know, I go crazy when it comes to planning things out and predicting things for the whole seson. You should see my Microsoft Excel layouts. I have one that's
His
just
draft one is
completely
beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is how it goes out. Actually, on my predictions, I have Buffalo winning 3 more games the rest of the season. 3 games.
Split with Arizona?
Yes.
Yep.
That's what I have. So 3 games they win, and then they have 4 more overtime or shootout losses.
Yeah.
So they're what? 3, 4, and
10.
something like that. Yeah.
The bad thing for
9.
tank support. Bad
3, 4,
thing for
9.
tank. Bad thing for tank supporters. With 16 games left, only 7 of the games we have are against playoff teams. So that's not a good thing.
It's still
How many
it's still
games are
enough.
at home?
You play New Jersey, so that's an automatic loss.
Yeah, Schneider's been too good. You're not going to get those lucky bounce goals
8 home
against New
games
Jersey.
left. We only have 8 home games left, and this team has been terrible on the road. So
So get to the First Niagara Center if you want to see some great hockey.
Yeah, really. Yeah, really.
That being said, we're going to take a short break here on Neutral Ice, but when we come back, we are going to talk about the Eastern playoff race right now. Florida is right behind the Boston Bruins, but how about
And you'll hear all about a beer for here. We're sincere, a pioneer. Community Beer Works.
Located at 15 Lafayette Avenue, Community Beer Works fills growlers 3 to 7 p.m. Thursdays and Fridays, and at Bidwell's Farmers Market on Saturdays. For more information, go to communitybeerworks.com. Cheers!
So here's 3 cheers for local beers. Beer, beer, beer. Community Beer Works.
Every single one of his medical bills, everything is just all taken care of.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes.
At St. Jude, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti.
Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Yeah, this is DJ Typical here on your typical radio station. You just heard a song from the band Nickelback there. Coming up, we've got some more radical tunes coming your way. You'll hear some tunes from artists like U2, Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber, Lady Gaga, One Direction, Nicki Minaj, and K $. Ha. Coming up just right around the corner.
Hey, DJ Typical, eat a Snickers!
Why, man?
Because you play some really crappy music when you're hungry. Better?
better. You're listening to Buffalo's original alternative, 91.3 FM, WBNY, where we don't play crappy music. We play the best and most original alternative music, just like this.
.3 FM, WBNY, Buffalo. You're listening to Neutral Ice. Brayton cut me off before. I was about to say there's a really hot team.
Sorry.
But that being said, he has a sexy hockey sense, so it's okay. That being said, what team is it, guys? What other team is creeping up on the East faster than a bullet train? Anybody? Anybody know? Are they on in Studio B? Probably not.
Oh, no, they aren't.
Hold on.
How about that?
How about
Hey,
now?
Are we here?
There we
Can
go.
you hear me now?
Everybody
Yes.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Good.
All right, Frank,
Okay.
go ahead.
Well, I was gonna
What
say-
is the hot team in the East besides Florida, guys?
New Jersey.
Ottawa.
Oh my God, he has the putty card. Oh my, that is the best card that needs to be played at least 10 times a show. Okay, now that being said, I heard one person say it. Would they like to reaffirm it seriously? Yes, obviously Ottawa. Ottawa is 8-1-1 their past 10 games.
They're led by the Hamburg.
They're only at 64 games played, so they have a game behind. They're a game up essentially on Boston as far as the chance to win points, and Florida is at 66 games, so they have 2 games up on them. Ottawa's been playing really, really good hockey. There is a concern though, Brighton. What is that concern?
That they are going to play Craig Anderson over Andrew Hammond,
Against Boston.
the Hamburglar.
Against Boston, too.
I mean, this
Biggest game of the
They're
season for them.
playing They're not playing the Hamburger, Andrew Hammond. They're not playing Andrew Hammond, who is obviously their best goaltender right now. With Robin Lehner out, Craig Anderson does not give him a better chance to win than Andrew Hammond at this point. You got to continue to ride the hot hand, and you know I can understand if you wanted to give Hammond a one game rest against Detroit. Right, they played Detroit, right?
Yes, they did.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to double check, but you're going back to Craig Anderson against.
Oh,
it was Calgary. It was Calgary.
I'm sorry, because
Wow, what am I
Calgary came
thinking?
down from 4-0.
Yeah, Calgary came down. Yes, exactly. So I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that Dave Cameron, the coach of the Ottawa Senators, is thinking about going back to Craig Anderson when obviously they got a better goaltender right now than Andrew Hammond.
If you're gonna put the Hamburglar, you may as well just put in Grimace. Cancel.
Boo.
I don't get it.
You know,
He's one of Ronald McDonald's friends.
Somebody's parents clearly had a healthy diet for you as a child.
Correct.
That being said,
Grimace was like my childhood idol.
Dude, Grimace was that creature that just stepped out of the sewers, and he was like, "Hey, Ronald, I ate a lot of lead paint. Can I join your crew?"
Whoa.
Was that too dark for everybody? Sorry for all you kids who died of heart attacks. Oh boy. That's the sound you make after you eat 2 Big Macs and realize that Grimace is what was in the toilet after. Now, that being all said,
Grimace was my
Still
boy.
better than the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, always a way to bring it back.
It's a bad goal that was scored. Nicholas Cronwall for the Red Wings scored. It's tied 1-1.
Of course they did.
Game center hadn't caught up for me.
Yes,
You know
go
what?
Wings.
That goal makes me grimace.
Oh boy. Oh.
Flop.
Neutral Ice, where we make McDonald's jokes from the 90s.
Curse you,
You
Scrivens.
started this, Chris. Don't you dare bash my joke.
Oh man.
Hey, my joke would have been funny if the people that were cultured were in here.
You guys are the new age Mick
do you mean
kids.
cultured?
You guys are old enough to remember the Mick kids?
Dope.
How old do we have to be for that?
Sadly, I think I am, but I don't.
The Mick kids are there's a video game called the Mick Kids. It was a Super Mario 3 clone, and it was a video game, and it was really hard for no reason. That being said, McDonald's.
Because
McDonald's. I'm dead.
loving it.
There goes our endorsement.
There goes our McDonald's endorsement. So this being
I
said,
actually had them on the ropes too.
Worth it.
let's get
Guys, we might not want to say anything more about McDonald's. They might sue us.
Oh yeah, they'll sue us for a total of $0 made of pennies. Yeah, McDonald's sues SUNY Buffalo State. Well, how would that work out?
Any publicity is good publicity. People would start listening to Neutral Ice. Then let's do it.
Oh my
McDonald's,
yes.
bring it on.
Bash them.
Oh, that being said, Ottawa has a very important string of games coming up over the course of 4 days. 4 days, they face these 3 teams. Boston tomorrow, Thursday, they get the Canadiens at Montreal, and then Friday, they're at the Islanders in New York. That's a crazy string of games, and this week is going to make or break whether the Senators, I believe, are going to be able to make a run for that final playoff spot. If they do not get regulation wins in at least one of these games with 2 overtime losses, in my opinion, they got to come out with 4 points in the next 3 games. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's a huge stretch for a team like the Ottawa Senators. They are just let's see, they are 5 points out of a playoff spot now. They
Isn't it 4?
No, they're
it's
5.
It's
Oh,
5.
my bad.
They need to get some more wins. They got 3 wins right now. They came back against Calgary to somehow win that game, even though they shouldn't have.
That's another reason Craig Anderson should be playing. By the way, he almost gave up a 4-0 lead.
Yeah,
like my gosh.
Yeah, I mean it's and Andrew Hammond is the one single reason that you are here at this point right now. The Ottawa Senators they won 6. They won 4 in a row. Then they lost an overtime game, and then they won 3 more. And yes, you did get the last one with Craig Anderson, but still, you're going up against Boston in the next game. Boston in the next game. Wouldn't you want to go back to your best goaltender right now? I mean, Robin Lehner is still hurt. You still got him up here while you can. Once Robin Lehner comes back, then you probably have to send Hammond back down to Binghamton. But still, it's just play your hot hand as long as you can. And then when the time comes for Lehner to come back, you got to send Hammond down because you're not putting Craig Anderson. Well, I mean, you probably could Craig Anderson on waivers and maybe he would clear through, but you're not putting Robin Lehner on waivers and having him clear through.
You can argue right now in the Atlantic Division, Boston and Ottawa are the 2 hottest teams. Boston with 2 regulation losses their past 10 games. Ottawa, like I said, only 1 regulation loss their past 10 games. These teams have played very well, and it's going to be a big battle, I think, between them. No offense to Florida, but I just don't think that Florida has the firepower, even after the trades, to keep up with either of these teams right now. Florida is a team, you kind of want to see, you root for them because they're so bad. They're like the Bills of hockey.
No love for Yager.
Yeah, and Yager. Yager.
Yager
all
and
hated
Heatley.
Yager.
Yager bombs.
Yager bombs.
Is Heatley playing for them, by the way? He should be.
Oh, man. But you're looking at this right now. I am curious to see this week, can Ottawa get 4 points against the Bruins, Canadiens, and Islanders? I want to go around them yes or no. What do you guys think?
What are they against Boston and who?
Boston, Montreal, and the New York Islanders.
Honestly, I think they're going to make the playoffs, even though I have to shy away from my Panthers pick from before the season I picked them to make it. But
I don't think either of them make the playoffs.
I honestly, when I've watched Boston, I have not been impressed. I mean, they should have lost the other night too when Marchand came back for them and it was in
the Philly game.
Yeah, in the Philly game. So I mean, they haven't looked that good even against some bad teams. So I think they're flawed, and I've loved Ottawa. I think Mike Hoffman's playing out of his mind. Zibanejad's playing the best hockey of his career. Stone's playing great.
Stone has been really good.
And they're getting production from their stars like Bobby Ryan and Carlson. That it's to me about the goaltending, though, because I don't know if Hammond can keep it up, and I'm pretty sure Craig Anderson or Lehner can't give him enough. So I think if they miss, it's going to be because of goaltending. Their roster I like more than Boston's, though. Toe-to-toe.
Oh, they're a little bit of a younger roster too.
That's another reason why I like
that's
it too.
That's
technically.
That is the surprising thing about Ottawa. You look at this team; it's like everything had to kind of click with these players. You see guys, all those young players you mentioned, like Stone and such.
Stone, Mika Zibanejad, you're getting contribution from Mike Hoffman.
Yeah.
Even a guy like freaking Mark Borowiecki on defense is actually helping out.
I mean, if you could give out like a rookie group of the year. As far as the Senators or a young players group of the year, it's really been the Senators this year. Their young core players have stepped up this year. It's a really good sign for the future for the Senators. If you're a Senators fan, you should be really happy that all your young players are the reason why you're playing so well right now. It means that you're on the up, but you have a serious chance to win. Anybody else in Studio B want to comment on the Senators right now if they think they can get 4? The question is, can they get 4 points against Boston, Montreal, and the Islanders?
I'd say yes, honestly. I think that, like Joe said, Boston has not nearly been as impressive as they have been. And even with Craig Anderson in net, he has been prone to being just randomly a hot goaltender. So he might bounce back from that past game against Calgary and just put up a gem. Montreal, they sometimes are like one of the most schizophrenic teams in the NHL. But I'd honestly say that if they're going to get the 4 points, it's going to come from Boston, Montreal, and not from the Islanders.
One thing to keep in mind, Montreal, while they're being a very, very good while they are a very good team, they're being a very good team. While they are a very good team, they're a little misleading as far as their points are concerned. They're 90 and they're first in the Eastern Conference. They're first in the NHL right now, besides the Anaheim Ducks, who are a point ahead of them. That being said, Montreal is near the bottom third of the league as far as puck possession is concerned, which is not a good sign if you want to go by your playoff hockey over the past couple of years, including you go back, you look at the Rangers-Kings series, where you look at the puck possession in that series, and is it in that favor last year? No, they were two of the best teams handling the puck in the league last year in the finals. Something we learned from good teams in the playoffs, they usually are near the top half of the league in puck possession. Something that Montreal, so what does that mean, guys? What does that mean, listeners? It means that Carey Price is playing out of his mind. He's
Hart Trophy caliber.
There's where I want to go with this right now. So we all think Ottawa's got a good shot at making a run at the playoffs. We're going to end with that right now, and we'll see how they get past these next 3 games before we make any serious predictions on the run between them and Boston. However, Hart Trophy consideration, we're getting that time. We're in the last fifth of the year, basically. And when's the last time a goalie won the Hart Trophy?
Was it?
I think it was Dominic Hasek.
I think
No, it was Jose
Theodore.
Theodore. Theodore in 2002.
It was around there.
And any doubt right now that Carey Price, barring a random injury or a stroke, is going to not get...
Well, don't joke about strokes because Chris Letang had a stroke last year.
Yes, that would not be good. We would not want to offend...
where we don't joke about strokes.
We don't joke about strokes or family affairs here on WBNY.
It's a family affair.
Or anything in regards to any of those things. We don't joke about those kind of things. They're not funny. But that being said, we don't want to wish that upon anybody. We just want the best for everybody in their health. However, barring some random injury, Carey Price, because we just saw one of the defensemen. Was it Dennis Weidman for the Flames, right?
Yes. No, it was Mark Giordano.
Giordano. Thank you.
Giordano.
I get them confused sometimes.
Injured his elbow and he's out 45 months.
And Giordano could have been potentially put up as a guy you could have even had
Norris Trophy.
You could have had Norris Trophy written all over him for the way he's played this year. So that being said, though,
Or Patrick Kane.
So unless something like that happens to Carey Price, Carey Price, Hart Trophy winner, yes or no? Right now, if the season were to end today,
I would say so. Yes.
Ooh, we got.
I don't know of anybody else that could. Pecorino would probably be the only other one that I would even pick.
The 3 forwards, I like Pecorino too, but I don't know if you can pick him over Price. The only 3 skaters that would either even probably be able to compete with him would be Ovechkin, Nicholas Backstrom, and John Tavares.
Yeah,
but I don't think I'm giving
and
any.
Patrick
of them
Kane was in that department until he got his injury.
I would have gave it to Kane before he got hurt, but right now, if the season ended, I would probably give it to Carey Price. I mean, what do they have? Like 177 goals, where like opposed to Tampa, who was 222.
Yes,
like he is the reason they are as good as they are. So yeah, I would give it to him.
Out of all the teams in the playoff run right now, let me throw the stat at you. Montreal has 177 goals. It's the same amount of goals as the Philadelphia Flyers. It's less goals than the Ottawa Senators. It's 1 more goal than the Boston Bruins.
1 more than the Toronto Maple Leafs too.
What does that tell you about how good Carey Price is? Now let me go through goal differential. In the Eastern Conference, Montreal has only given up 146 goals on the entire year. You want to talk about the next closest guy in the Eastern Conference?
League, yep.
It is the New York Rangers by Lundqvist and Talbot with tremendous defense. And then, I'm sorry, actually, my apologies. No, it is there. Sorry, I saw something else. It was only the New Jersey Devils' atrocious goal scoring this year. It was the Rangers at 155, and then after that, I believe it's the Pittsburgh Penguins. Fleury playing surprisingly well during
Second
the season.
best team in goal differential, like with the goals against in the league, is Chicago.
Yeah,
154. Yeah.
And Crawford's been hurt for a lot of that too. So great team defense.
They've been great in Montreal as far as that, and you give credit to PK Subban. Markov for the Canadians as well. They've done
had a good season.
They've done a very good job.
And the Ganch.
They've done a very good job because
he's been in and out of the lineup. He's not making a difference at all.
I know, but it's funny to watch him play.
The offense in Montreal, has not been why they have won, but Carey Price has been fire. All right, call Katy Perry right now. All right, she's gonna roar. It's just absolutely monstrous. I love what Carey Price has done. I'm not sure it's going to carry in the playoffs, though. I think they're going to run into a wall, and that wall probably is going to be one of the teams from the Metropolitan. I just love the Metropolitan. I'm in love. Either that or the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think Tampa Bay in the Atlantic is the best team right now that I see when they're on their A game, as much as I want to like Detroit, and then the Metropolitan's just like, there's like this juggernaut. Like I see the Rangers, Penguins, and Islanders all come out, and they're just like, well, we're just gonna.
You say Tampa Bay is
too.
good. New York Rangers have been phenomenal.
Oh, that's what
lately.
I mean.
And with the way that they just got Keith Yandle to trade deadline, that's going to drastically help their defensive core out a huge ton because Keith Yandle can play both sides of the defensive game. He can be offensive, he can be defensive, he can play power play, he can even play penalty kill. He's going to be a huge addition on top of, guys like Ryan McDonough, Mark Stahl, Dan Girardi, and even a guy like Kevin Kline, who's been fantastic this year for the Rangers.
I think that I personally think the Rangers are going to win the Metropolitan. I mean, they're a point behind the Islanders right now, but they got 3 games to play on them. Islanders at 67, Rangers at 64, and the Penguins are in the same boat right now. I honestly think the Rangers and Pittsburgh can end up at 1-2 this year. No offense to the Islanders, I just really think the Metropolitan's a terrific division.
I think possibly even Washington could pass them.
Washington's going to be harder.
Can win the division out of the top 4.
Washington's at is
They're
6 points behind the Islanders right now at 82. However, Holtby's been a monster.
That's why I feel like I don't think I would certainly not pick them to win it, but I think Washington, they have a very good chance to get in that top 3.
It's funny.
I don't know who they would kick out though, because I don't think it's the Rangers. I mean, it's hard to pick against the Penguins.
All right, let me ask this question to you guys while we're on the Metropolitan Division. I'm gonna take away Carey Price. I'm gonna take away Pekka Rinne. Who's the next best goalie in the league after those guys this year?
Lundqvist. Oh, this year.
I saw someone say it was Devin Dubnyk. He was 3rd in some projected Vezina vote.
Yeah, this year,
I would say that if you were to have the top 3 candidates, it would obviously for the Vezina Trophy, it would probably be Carey Price, Pekka Rinne, and Devin Dubnyk. Just because Devin Dubnyk he's started 25 consecutive games for the Minnesota Wild. That is, I think, every game since he has been acquired by the Wild, he has started. And
he's got them 5 points behind Chicago.
Yes, exactly. And now in a playoff spot. When he was traded there was talk of Mike Yeo getting fired. I don't think Mike Yeo's getting fired anymore just because of the fact that Devin Dubnyk has carried that team on his back since being acquired on the same day that, or it was, what was it, the day after, or the day before, or the day that the Sabres lost 7-0 to Minnesota? I think it was the day of.
Yeah.
The morning of. And so, I mean, it was the day before because the first game he played was against the Sabres and he shut them out 7-0.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that the only other goaltender I can think of that is having a better season than Devin Dubnyk as of right now, that would be the third candidate, is probably, in my opinion, Braden Holtby.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, I agree with that. I think some people might want to toss Halak into that, just because of how improved the Islanders have been. But I don't think he's got a shot.
I think Boychuk is a bigger difference earlier in the year, and guys and increased play from line mates like Okposo and Brock Nelson.
I mean,
well.
It's tough though, because past those guys, you got like Halak, you got Bishop, Fleury,
Michael
Brian
Hutchinson.
Elliott.
Michael Hutchinson should be a candidate for Calder Trophy of the year, for Rookie of the Year.
Definitely.
He has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
He is probably one of the sole reasons why the Winnipeg Jets are probably going to make the playoffs this year.
Oh man, it's
Winnipeg, by the way, surprisingly, I think they were like 1st or 2nd in puck possession.
And I'll tell you what, Tyler Myers is playing a heck of a lot better in Winnipeg now. And it was a good point. I don't remember who brought it out. I think it was John Shannon from Sportsnet, or one of the guys from Sportsnet I was watching the other day. Tyler Myers in Buffalo, he had that role of being the best player. He had to be on top of his game in order to, be a significant matter. Yeah. When he came to Winnipeg, Paul Maurice told him, "Don't worry about being the best player because you're not the best. You're not that type of player on this team. You're probably like 2nd or 3rd. The best player right now on this team is probably a guy like Andrew Ladd, Andre Pavlik, or Dustin Byfuglien. Those are the guys that have the most pressure on him. Tyler Myers doesn't have any pressure on him right now. That's probably how it was in his rookie season when he didn't have pressure on him. Then after that, he had all this hype about him. So now if Tyler Myers doesn't have this pressure, he's playing a whole lot better.
He's more of a 2-3 guy than a 1 guy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, after they saw the past couple of years in Buffalo, were beginning to think that, which is great for an organizational standpoint. However, when he's forced to play as a number 1 guy, you saw what happened the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting to see in Winnipeg right now how things are going. I bring that up because we were talking about the Metropolitan and Braden Holtby. And Braden Holtby's been a monster. He's had the most played games of any goalie this year. thus far in the NHL. He has been one of the most improved. A big thing on Holtby was he was never consistent. Enter a new coach, enter a new team basically for Washington. Washington's a team that can compete in the playoffs, but they don't do it without a guy like Holtby. Holtby's had some magnificent performances this year. And again, if you look at a potential playoff matchup of what could be a Washington-Montreal type matchup in the first round of the playoffs, if Montreal gets stuck in maybe the number 2 seed and Washington gets the number 1 wild card spot, as far as that's concerned, after winning, that would be a really interesting matchup to see.
Here's an argument for Carey Price winning the Calder Trophy right now, and I think this is a clear heart. Sorry, thank you for that, Frank, for correcting me. Carey Price is Joe. Thank you, Joe. Sorry. I just heard it. I wasn't paying attention to it. Here's the fact. Carey Price's goals against average right now, 1.89 goals against average.
Ridiculous.
Next best one, Devin Dubnyk, 2.11. Wins, Carey Price, the most, 37. Next closest, Pecorine, 35. Save percentage, .936 save percentage. Next best save percentage, Aunt Larry, it's Corey Schneider, .928. And yeah. I think there's no doubt. The only player
I heard that guy's pretty good.
Yeah, the only player that has more statistics like shutouts, Marc-Andre Fleury has 9 shutouts this year, which is pretty darn good. Carey Price has 7. Yeah. So I think there's no doubt in my mind at least that Carey Price wins the Hart Trophy as of right now. Could things change? Absolutely. Maybe the Canadians fall apart and Carey Price maybe gets hurt or he just goes on this really bad streak. But the way that Carey Price is playing right now and the way he was playing before after the Olympics last year when he won gold medal in Canada and the way he was playing before he got hurt against the New York Rangers, I think the Canadians could have made the Stanley Cup Finals last year if the Price didn't get hurt.
No doubts here. The only problem, I think, is that the Canadians team overall last year was better than this Canadians team this year. I just think Price is playing better, which is why the Canadians are yielding similar results heading into the playoffs. That's the biggest deal, as I really think when I look into this, I think the Metropolitan could reign supreme over these playoffs in the East. I want to I hope maybe I'm proved wrong, and Detroit just blows my mind in the playoffs. But for some reason, I can't jump on the Detroit bandwagon against some of these other elite teams when they get to the playoffs as much as I like the Islanders, Penguins, and Rangers right now. Rangers I really like. Does everybody think the Rangers are going to the Cup from the East?
I do.
Nope.
I do.
I think it'll be them versus Tampa in the conference finals. I think
believe that.
Rangers
whoever disagrees, say who you think will.
Don't say the Devils.
No, I'm not going to say the Devils. That's just not logical.
Please.
There's a lot of non-logical times.
I think a hot Price could beat them. I don't. I still see the Islanders giving the Rangers a run for their money.
I think the Islanders would be a safer pick. I think betting on a goalie is always dangerous. I mean, even when Lundqvist was tested a lot in the playoffs last year, especially that Penguins series. Can we agree that, in all honesty, Lundqvist completely bailed them out in that series?
Oh, yeah.
100%? Okay.
Well, they were down 3-1.
They were down 3-1, and they came back, and Lundqvist played on top of his head the entire last 3 games of that series.
Now, that being said, the Rangers were still a good puck possession team.
Mm-hmm.
The Canadians do not possess that. That's just not their game this year, and that's something that worries me, and that's why I don't think they can make it far into the playoffs. I don't think they can make it to the conference finals.
They'll certainly beat Boston, I think, if they play them.
If they play Boston, I agree. I think they'll beat Boston.
After that, I agree with you. I don't know if they would get
I'm still saying Tampa goes to the Cup.
Okay, so I wanted to give you guys my projections for the rest of the season and who's going to be in the playoffs. I'll give you the first-round matchups for every team, and we'll break it down from there, and I'll tell you what I think, and I'll tell you the matchups. Okay, let's start with the Eastern Conference. First-round matchups. We're going to start with Tampa Bay against Boston. Tampa Bay being the 1 seed in the Atlantic and Boston being the second wild card team going up against them. Who wins that series?
Tampa.
I'd say
sweep.
Tampa
Easily
sweep.
Tampa. I won't say sweep.
I'd say
6 games.
I'd say 5 games.
5 games. 5 games. Give a game to Tuukka Rask.
Because Boston's still an experienced playoff team. Yes, they haven't been impressive, but Tuukka Rask is still a difference maker.
Think about how much faster Tampa is than Boston.
I know that. I'm just saying Tuukka Rask can steal a couple games for Boston.
I can
see that.
That first line in Tampa Bay reminds me of Ivan Drago from Rocky IV. It's just I feel like they'll just crush everybody.
The second line's Mr. T.
Yeah, the second line's Mr. T.
The young gun line.
All right, so I agree with all of you guys. I have Tampa winning that series. Next series, yes, Montreal against Detroit. Montreal being the 2nd seed in the Atlantic, Detroit being the 3rd seed in the Atlantic.
Montreal
in 7.
Montreal in 6.
I'll say Montreal in 5.
I will say Montreal in 7. I think that's a really hard fought series.
It's a really hard fought series. I have Montreal in 7.
I
as
say
well.
it's like one of those really good five game series, but Carey Price just overtakes Jimmy Howard so much. Howard could probably get something, give some life to the Red Wings, but it's just not a Montreal's just going to overtake them.
Right. All right, next series, we go to the Rangers, the top seed in the Metropolitan, against Washington, the first wild card seed.
This would be, I'm going to speak first on this one. This would be my favorite series
Me too.
of potentially the entire playoffs. Watching potentially, even if Lundqvist is not even healthy, Cam Talbot has been on his game.
He has been.
And the Rangers, oh my God, I love that. The Rangers would just be, oh man, watching Holtby, this defensive-minded Capital team now against this defensive-minded Ranger team. This is the playoff hockey of this. I would just explode. I would have to go with Rangers, but I'd say 6 games. Rangers in 6, maybe 7. With one of those series I could see flipping and we all get surprised, but because Ovi's playing so hot.
By the way, Riley Sheehan scored for the Red Wings. It's 2-1.
Woo!
Hey, let's all give a clap for the laughing stock, the Toronto Maple Leafs, because they're up 2-0 on the Islanders.
Now Michael Neuvert decides to give up goals.
Well, good.
All right.
What was the
so-
series we were talking about? Rangers, Washington?
Rangers, Washington.
I would say Rangers in 7 just because I have a lot of
Rangers in
respect for
7.
Holtby and Ovechkin and Backstrom are 2 and 3 in points
I
right
have
now.
I have the Rangers winning that series too, but it is going to go to 7
It's
games.
going to get 6
Yeah.
or 7.
6
for
or
sure.
7.
I have a feeling we're
those-
going to see a few of these games where it's going to just be the Nick Backstrom and Alex Ovechkin show the entire game.
Those two teams are quickly becoming playoff rivals.
Oh yeah.
I want to ask Brayton a question real quick.
Yes.
Against the Rangers, who do you think would give them a better run, Washington or Pittsburgh?
Yes, that's the question I was
That's
just
a good
about to
question.
ask as well.
I would say Washington gives
I
them
would
a
agree
better
with
run.
that.
Because
Washington.
Holtby's playing very well this year. And yes, Marc-Andre Fleury is playing pretty well as well. However,
He's a mess
Marc-Andre
once playoffs
Fleury
start.
is, as you just said, is a mess in the playoffs. He just chokes. Okay, so the last series in the East is Pittsburgh and the New York Islanders.
Rematch from 2 years ago.
Islanders in 6.
Really?
Yeah, I love the Islanders this year.
I'm going to say Pittsburgh in 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Pittsburgh in 6. Just I love the experience on Pittsburgh. Hornquist is playing great, and the fact of the matter is, while you can bash Fleur all you want, you've seen him get past the first round of the playoffs multiple times.
I'm going to say Isles in 7.
This is the toughest one for me.
Pittsburgh would be the 2nd seed in the Metro. The Islanders would be the 3rd seed in the Metro.
It also depends if Oposo's back.
He
I'd
would
say
be.
even
He would
with
be.
Okposo back.
He's supposed to come back
still
before the
say
regular
Pittsburgh.
season
I'm
ends.
just saying that him being back is important to their
Oh,
success.
it absolutely is, but I'd still say Pittsburgh
I'll
wins.
take the Islanders in 7, but I am not confident about that at all.
I'd
Right.
say Pittsburgh because of the playoff experience.
Wait.
The Islanders have had. The Islanders have a couple. Boychuk and Leddy have won Stanley Cups,
Right.
and most of the guys on that team were in that brief playoff time they had in the lockout season. But that's it. That's all the playoff experience. Really, the all experience they have, along with Halak.
Too many times this year I watched Tavares carry this Islander team on off games for the Islanders, and that's the problem I have with the Islanders. Really, is the fact is other guys, and you're right. I think that guys like Boychuk and Okposo are huge to this team. They need to be healthy for this playoff series if they want to win. Because guys like Letang, who's playing out of his mind, is he gonna win? Do you think?
I have the Penguins winning in 7.
Oh,
yeah.
I have the Penguins winning this series in 7. Again, this is all everything that you hear. For any listeners that are out there listening, I projected this season out, and this is what I came up with for the first round of the playoffs with the whole 82 game schedule being played and what happens. So
If the Islanders beat Pittsburgh and the Rangers beat Washington, does that set up an Islander-Ranger series?
that
or
sets
no?
up an Islanders-Rangers series.
That's what I'm rooting for.
And you want
Yes.
to know what though?
I think
It's not
everyone
it's
will
not out of the
love that.
spectrum where the
That's-
Pittsburgh jumps both the
that's
Rangers
still-
and Islanders right now in the
Yeah, it still
Metropolitan.
could be a first-round
That
playoff
could
series.
definitely be a first round play too.
Right.
The Metropolitan is up for grabs, like I said.
I see that more likely happening because
I think the Rangers are going to be first. I don't see any team beating the Rangers.
well,
right
maybe
now.
if the Islanders implode a little bit, Washington gets in there. Maybe Rangers could play him in the
that would
wild
just
card.
be dumb.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to the Eastern Conference semifinals. It would be Tampa Bay and Montreal in the first matchup in the semifinals.
Tampa
I'm going
in
Tampa.
6.
I'm going Tampa in 7.
Tampa
Tampa in 5.
in 5. Yeah, I
I'd
like
say-
Tampa
I'd
this
say
year.
Tampa.
I think they're a much better team overall than the Canadians. I think Carey Price can stand on his head, but I think Tampa Bay is just going to be too powerful on the offensive front for Montreal to handle.
Right. Yeah, I have Tampa winning that series too, and the other series the other matchup in that series would be the Rangers and Penguins.
Rangers.
I'll say Rangers in 6.
Rangers in 5. This is where Bad Flurry shows up.
Yeah, Flurry.
say
You say
6.
Bad Flurry, yet Bad Flurry almost got into the playoffs last year, and it was only because of got past the Rangers, and only because Lundqvist stood on his head, the Rangers were able to advance. I like the Rangers, but I'll tell you what, I go 7 games. Penguins.
Yeah, I'll say
Flurry
7.
gets a bad rap. Yeah, he's been hit
Pittsburgh
hard,
in 4.
but he's been good. He's been good. Look at. Would you say Flurry was terrible last year in the playoffs?
No.
No, not at all. And this year, has he been given any reason to think that Fleury would be bad?
No.
9 shutouts, right?
Right.
I'm not going to beat the guy down. Maybe something clicking now. I'm going to put money on Fleury right now, but I think the Rangers are too good. I think they go to 7 games. I think the Rangers win because they're the better team.
Now let's just suggest that Aunt Larry's Chris. Sorry, it's.
There's a nickname for Chris Kowalczyk here, and the name is Aunt Larry.
That's not true.
So,
anyways, Chris, if it was a Rangers Islanders series, who would win that? I just want your thought on that.
My heart tells me to say the Islanders in 7, but my head tells me to pick the Rangers in 7.
Okay.
I'd still say the Rangers.
Your heart can choke your
now
brain.
this would be an interesting matchup if this were to happen. Let's say the Rangers lose to the Washington Capitals in the first round of the series, but the Penguins still win. Washington and Pittsburgh in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Who would win that?
I'm going to say Pittsburgh.
Washington in 7.
Washington, I like.
I'd say Washington, but first off, could we say that NBC would explode in their pants?
Yes, they would.
Oh my gosh,
They
NBC
would.
explode. I'm just looking at the East real fast. Potential matchups: you could have Montreal, Boston, Washington, Pittsburgh, Islanders, Rangers.
I think Montreal, Boston.
Even
happens in the first
Tampa,
round.
Detroit. That's Yzerman versus old team.
We're
his old team.
salivating at the mouth
I
here.
say
on-
Joe's been
Montreal,
talking
Boston
about
is the first round matchup.
Joe. Just so all you know, Joe's been talking about this since like January.
Yes, and it's. I mean, the only thing that looks like it won't happen is Islanders, Rangers.
Okay. So now let's move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Tampa Bay and New York Rangers. Who wins that one? Who goes to the Cup Finals for
Tampa
the East?
Bay.
Rangers.
Gotta say the Rangers here.
Tampa in 7.
Tampa in 7.
Bishop.
Chris?
Tampa in 7.
I'd go Rangers 6.
I've got Rangers winning this series. Rangers in 6.
Yep, I'm with
they
you.
will be the Rangers will be the will have games 3 and 4 and 6 at home, and then 1, 2, 5, and 7 on the road in Tampa Bay.
I can't stomach picking the Rangers. Like, it's that bad.
Oh, I understand on your point, Chris.
They're like worse than the Cowboys for me, and I'm a Giants fan.
All right. Oh, wow. 91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative since 1982. Brought to you by the Buffalo State Student Activity Field. We'll get that out of the way. Let's go to the Western Conference here real quick. First round matchups in the Western Conference. We've got the first one, Anaheim, the top seed in the Pacific, and Winnipeg, the second wild card team. Who wins that series?
That's actually really tough.
You're all gonna.
You think Winnipeg is going to upset Anaheim in the first round?
I've never been a fan of Anaheim. I'm gonna pick Winnipeg to do it in 7.
My big problem.
I'm gonna be disagreed with.
The big thing about it, Anaheim. I was actually just talking to former DJ Lars Lewis today. He goes to a lot. He goes to Ducks games, and he's been saying that they're just not impressive, even at home. They're just not. They haven't been impressive, and the energy that comes from the fans just hasn't been there. So if they have to play Winnipeg, imagine going to Winnipeg.
Yeah, that
Anaheim's won a lot of 1-goal games. That goaltending is not impressed me. Anderson's been hurt.
I say Winnipeg upsets them.
To back up your arguments right now from Studio B, Anaheim for being so the second best team right now in the league is Montreal, right? They have a plus 31 goal differential, and then you talk about Tampa at 88 points. They have a plus 45 goal differential.
Anaheim
heck, the Nashville and St. Louis plus 32 goal differential, plus 41 goal differential.
Chicago's at plus 36.
Anaheim has a plus 14 goal differential. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Their record indicates right now that they are way ahead of everybody else really in the league. However,
especially in their division,
their goal spread out clearly defines they've won a lot of close games, and a lot of certain puck bounces have gone a certain way. I'm very, very impressed with Winnipeg and what they've been able to do since the trade. However, Hutchinson really needs to have his game up for this series.
Yeah.
If he does.
But remember, I mean, who are you more confident in, Winnipeg's goalies or Anaheim's? To me, it's close.
It's
So
close,
I don't know
but
if
I'm
I
gonna
don't
give
know
it to Winnipeg.
I don't know if
Because Hutchinson's
Anaheim
just
is a
been
big enough
better.
difference to
Here's
make it.
here's
seem
my
like Hutchinson's
argument.
the
I have
next guy.
Anaheim winning this series, but here's the thing: John Gibson is playing really well right now.
He
Just
is.
and Frederick Anderson is healthy again. So, and Anderson's was playing pretty well before he got hurt. One of the two goaltenders has got to take over, and one of them is going to hit a hot streak. Right now, John Gibson's playing pretty well.
I like Gibson a lot.
Yes, and I think that John Gibson is going to be the starter in the playoffs, and he will carry Anaheim in the playoffs. So I believe I have Anaheim winning that series. Next series, I have the LA Kings as the Pacific 2 team against Vancouver Canucks as the Pacific 3 team. Who wins that series?
LA.
I'll say LA. I don't really think they'll make the playoffs, but they would beat Vancouver.
Yeah, LA's got all the experience. They know how to hit the playoffs hot, and in this scenario, that means they're charging into the playoffs hot.
Yeah, that would be.
I'm in agreement with all of them.
Wait, so LA in 2, that means you have Calgary missing?
Yes, Calgary would miss.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going LA. LA's in the playoffs, man.
LA, yep.
Don't bet against LA in the playoffs.
I have LA sweeping that series against Vancouver because if Ryan Miller is not, I mean, and who knows? I mean, Ryan Miller is expected to be back by then, but who knows?
how
Maybe
he could
he's
play.
yeah, exactly. We
Quick
don't know
question.
how he could play.
What's more likely, Vancouver beats LA or LA misses the playoffs?
I would
More likely, I'd say LA misses the playoffs.
as of right now,
Yeah, I'd
it
agree.
would probably be more likely. However, you know how LA can be. It's
They
not
can
like
get
they're
hot just
yeah.
in a snap of a finger.
I mean, they could turn it around easily, and that's what I have it projected. Their schedule for the rest of the year is actually fairly easy. Fairly easy.
Yeah.
So I think that they will go on a huge roll, and they will get back in the playoffs. They will knock off Calgary and everything. So the next series after that, we head to the Central. It's going to be Nashville as the number 1 Central team, even though they're on a 6-game losing streak, against Minnesota, the wild card number 1 team. Who wins that series?
Nashville in 7.
I'm going to say Nashville in 6.
I'm going to say Minnesota in 6.
Chris?
I'm going to say Minnesota in 7.
I have Minnesota upsetting Nashville in the first round of the playoffs just because Devin Dubnyk is playing hot. Nashville isn't exactly playing well right now.
And Minnesota's starting to get healthier.
Yes,
Yeah.
that too.
I'm saying Nashville, though, because they got the playoff experience. I know Minnesota's got a lot of playoff experience, too, but Devin Dubnyk has never been in the playoffs, so I don't trust
I
him
know
when he will play.
playoff experience is important. I think you focus on it a little too much.
Sometimes
but
you have to.
But Minnesota has players like Ryan Suter,
absolutely.
Zach
I know.
Parise, who have
He's
more
been to the-
playoff
Parise's been
experience
to
than
the
some
Cup,
guys
right.
on Nashville. So,
But also too, you gotta when it comes to the playoffs, you gotta rely on your goaltender. Your goaltender's gonna have to probably steal you a couple games even in the playoffs. Devin Dubnyk, yes, he's probably been one of the best goalies since going to Minnesota. But once again,
So
that
is
playoff experience may come in.
Okay.
I just say Nashville.
right. Okay, final matchup of the first round of the Western Conference playoffs, St. Louis against Chicago. St. Louis would be the Central number 2 team. Chicago would be Central number 3. Who wins?
I got to feel bad for St. Louis here. They keep drawing Chicago or some power team, and they're always one and done. Unfortunately, I think that trend continues. Chicago in 6.
I'll say St. Louis in 6.
I'm gonna say Chicago in 6.
Chicago in 5.
Chicago in 6. I say.
I'm stunned I got
as
swept
well.
on that, honestly.
Yes. Okay. So now we move on to the Western Conference semifinals. The first matchup would be Anaheim, as the 1, and then LA as the 2.
I have to go with LA. Probably in 7.
I don't think that. Okay, I'll go with LA in 7.
Yeah, I'd say LA 6.
Anaheim 6.
I have Anaheim winning that series. I think that LA string of beating Anaheim ends. I think that Anaheim gets over the hump finally.
Whoever I would say Anaheim will win this series only if whoever is the goaltender and he is playing extremely hot.
Right, exactly, and that's
the only way
that's my
Anaheim beats
point to the first series. It's just like
Yeah.
if the goaltending is good, like I think it will be, it would be fine. The second matchup would be a rematch of last year's semifinal matchup in the Western Conference, Minnesota and Chicago.
I would take Chicago. You
Uh,
have to.
I think it kind of depends on if Kane's back.
I mean,
Brayton threw me off by projecting all against my picks.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
We'll go over your picks next week.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll go with. Yeah, is Kane back?
If Kane's back, I think that it's not.
That changes it for me,
I think
honestly.
They
I
said
think it's
12
very
weeks
close.
from the injury. It's going to be around that time.
Okay.
I think
it
if
might
Minnesota
be a little
get-
earlier than that.
If Minnesota gets to the second round, I think that means Dubnyk's playing very well.
Yeah.
And if Dubnyk's playing very well, I would honestly think they would probably not probably, but
It's
they could
hard-
very well beat Chicago.
It's also
So-
hard to beat Chicago in the UC.
That is true. And then also, Teravainen's been. I thought he's been playing very well.
Yeah, he's hitting his stride.
Yeah.
They need
Vermette's
Vermette
playing
to
well.
step up. Yeah,
Vermette is a guy who could easily be stepping
but
up.
Kane's an important guy there.
He is very important.
I
too.
have Chicago beating Minnesota,
Yeah.
just because that Chicago, they're that powerhouse team in the West still, and Patrick Kane is expected to be back by then, and that's going to be huge for them. I think that they're going to be healthy by that point and firing on all cylinders. So I have Chicago, and then the Western Conference Finals matchup in my projections would be Anaheim-Chicago. Who goes to the Cup Finals for the West?
Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago.
Yeah, it seems clean here.
Chicago it is. Yep, I have Chicago as well. So with my projections, it would be a New York Rangers, Chicago Blackhawks, Stanley Cup Finals. Last night, the New York Rangers beat the Chicago Blackhawks in Chicago 1-0 in overtime thanks to Derek Brassard's goal. Who wins the Stanley Cup in that projection?
I'm going Rangers there.
Chicago in 6.
Rangers in 7.
I'm going Chicago in 7.
The home team in this matchup, if you're willing, would be the New York Rangers.
I'm still
Rangers.
I'm still saying Chicago.
I take Rangers.
I'm still saying.
I would cry myself to sleep for months.
Are you guys all? Are you more interested in like those original teams battling it out? Like what interests you more, Rangers, Blackhawks, or like it probably won't happen, but like Lightning, Jets? Like I like watching new teams in the finals. Honestly,
I do too.
Lightning Jets would be fun just because Winnipeg Cup would be bananas.
I just like even it doesn't have to be Winnipeg. Like it could be like Minnesota or it could be Calgary. Like just a team that like you would not expect to get there.
Yeah,
like, I love watching.
I like seeing that, but at the same time, can you imagine the amount of views and money that is going to come in if you get the two biggest markets in the country?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Into that,
I have the Chicago Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup this year.
Oh, boo!
Yeah,
that's my projections.
Who wins the Conn Smythe?
Who wins the Conn Smythe?
Corey Crawford.
No, I'm gonna
Taves.
I'm gonna say Taves.
in that scenario.
Henrik Lundqvist in a curveball.
It's probably going to be someone surprising to me because
Andrew Shaw,
Brian
Bickle,
Brandon Saad.
Oh my God.
Who's
Patrick
that
Sharp.
Buffalo kid
Patrick
that got
Sharp.
traded there?
Nicholas Jalmerson.
Auntie Ranta.
Auntie Ranta like catches a puck that's flying at like Kane's face on the bench, and they're like,
Yeah,
"Give him the
bare
Conn
hand.
Smythe."
With his bare hand.
Honestly,
with only 2 fingers.
I can honestly.
He's gonna Odell it.
Yeah.
It would be tough, but I mean, I honestly might be able to see a guy, someone like a Antoine Vermette or a Patrick Sharp winning the Conn Smythe Trophy. Maybe
Brad Richards.
Brad
It
Richards.
was like kind of like Justin Williams last year.
We've officially named every Blackhawk forward.
I think we did.
Have we? Does Hanzus still play for them?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Christopher Stieg.
Love Christopher Steve.
Here's first. Duncan Keith.
That's not a forward.
Now we're naming all their players.
Right.
All of the Blackhawks.
Johnny Oduya.
How do you do ya?
How do you do ya? Right on. Right on. All right. Well, just an update here as we are in the intermission for both of the games currently going on right now. The Toronto Maple Leafs held a 2-0 lead over the New York Islanders, and the Detroit Red Wings have a 2-1 lead over Edmonton.
Halak's not playing.
Halak is not playing. It is Michael Neuwirth.
Yeah.
Michael Neuwirth decides, as who said it earlier? Derek. Yep. He decides to give up all the goals now instead of giving up the goals when he was a member of the Buffalo Sabres. But,
Go ahead.
you know.
I was going to say, I missed the days when I was really hoping and praying that Islanders would be bottom 5 team.
Yeah, those
We
were
get
good
2
times.
Hey, it can still happen.
They would have to lose like every game.
Twice.
Yeah. And then the Devils and Panthers and Sens would have to like win out.
Yeah.
It could happen.
No.
Doubt it.
Not even
You
doubt.
can't
no.
use my jokes against me.
Just no.
I just did.
Let me say it in Spanish. No.
Wow, that was a good one.
How about in French? No.
All right, so let's.
I'm over this. I'm on to Cincinnati.
So the rest of the schedule tonight is going to be Anaheim in Vancouver to take on the Canucks. We have Nashville in Arizona to play the Coyotes.
Oh, boy.
And then San Jose hosts Pittsburgh at home. Tomorrow's matchups include, the first one is the Rangers against the Islanders.
Oh, that's tomorrow?
Yep, tomorrow. Then it would be Dallas in Philadelphia to play the Flyers. Columbus is in Carolina to play the Hurricanes. Tampa Bay is in Montreal. Boston is in Ottawa. Winnipeg is in St. Louis. The Devils are in Minnesota to play the Wild. And the Kings are in Colorado to play the Avs.
It's a good night to rest Dubnik.
Coos.
Yes. Yeah, I would.
Joe,
I would
you
say
watch
so
the
too.
MLS.
But I don't think that I at this point, unless Dubnik asks for a night off, I don't think the Minnesota Wild are going to give him a night off.
Oh yeah, no.
Because
they're fighting.
Their goaltenders after Devin Dubnik are Nicholas Backstrom and Darcy Kemper.
Kemper did have a great start to the season, but he was horrible like the few weeks after that.
Then he got hurt, and then he came back and was like, "Oh yeah, maybe you're healthy again and you're do better." Nope. And then that's when they went out and got Devin Dubnik, and
Josh
since
Harding,
and then the legend began.
Josh Harding's like in a cabin in Manitoba somewhere.
Yeah, he broke his foot.
In anger.
Was out. Then he got
Probably
waived.
kicked a log and broke his foot again.
Then he got waived and sent to
Poor
Iowa.
guy.
He sneezed while tying his skates and pulled a muscle in his back.
And he also has multiple sclerosis too. So that's
So we got to
So that's
give
two
this guy a little
instances
break.
today of where we say something that would not necessarily be a good thing, and then we kind of reflect back on it, and it's like, oh
yeah,
we didn't
thing.
look to put that against anybody. But
I kind of like Josh Harding as a potential guy for the Sabres to get for next year.
if Josh Harding is healthy,
Yeah, if he's healthy, I think he's a potential guy because there's not going to be a ton of guys out there.
Maybe.
Bargain buys.
Right. All right. Well, I'm trying to think. Oh, Buffalo plays next against Toronto.
Oh yeah.
That should be
Is that at home?
It is not.
Away?
It is in Toronto.
We're gonna lose.
Prepare
Yeah,
to have
if-
some
if-
jerseys
The,
thrown.
I'm gonna say right now, the Sabres are not winning a road game for the rest of the season.
Probably not.
I agree.
They won't even beat Arizona.
On the road.
Yeah.
Do you
on the
think
road.
they'll beat Arizona once, split the series?
Yeah, yeah. I said that they're gonna win 3 games the rest of the season. One of those is gonna be Arizona at home. They're gonna be Toronto at home, and then the other one, it's gonna be a toss up. I'm probably gonna say Columbus.
Okay. And on that note, we're going to play a little. Okay. So, question. What are the 1, 2, 3 seedings for the bottom? So let's just say 30th, 29th, 28th. Let's start with Joe.
Oh, projection?
Yes. Where do you think that the bottom 3 teams end up? Because I think everybody here in agreement is that Arizona, Edmonton, and Buffalo are going to finish there. And we're going to do this real quick. This is going to be the last thing before we decide to sign off on neutral ice.
Buffalo last, Arizona second last, Edmonton third last, but I think Toronto will give them a run for their money.
Yeah,
Okay, Frank?
I'm gonna say Buffalo, Arizona, Edmonton.
I'm actually going to pull the curveball here. I'm going to go Buffalo, Edmonton, Arizona.
Okay, Chris?
Buffalo, Arizona, Edmonton.
Okay, and Nick?
Buffalo, Arizona, and Edmonton.
I have Buffalo, Arizona, and Edmonton
You all don't
as
believe.
well.
The Oaks might miss out on Hannafin.
Unfortunately, we have run out of time here on Neutral Ice as always. Again, as we always like to say, we wish we'd have another hour or have more days than just Mondays to talk about this, but that's the way it goes here at WBNY. So we're going to sign off for tonight. Thanks again, everybody, for listening in to Neutral Ice. We'll be back next Monday at 8 p.m. same time. You can follow the radio. You can follow the radio station here at WBNY at WBNY Buffalo. You can follow our show Neutral Ice at Neutral Ice WBNY. You can follow myself Brayton Wilson at BJ Wilson SHC. You can follow Nick Lippa at Nicholas Lippa. You can follow Joe DiBiase at Joe
DiBiase 85.
Yep, Frank. You're at Frank Arcury, right? Yep. Derek
Derek at Derek Kramer 49.
and Chris.
Chris K89, 2 Y's and K.
All right. Well, for everybody in Studio B, Joe DiBiase, Frank Arcuri, Derek Kramer, Chris Kowalchuk, and for Nick Lippa, I am Brayton Wilson. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in once again. Neutral Ice will be back next week at 8 p.m. for Neutral Ice. You're listening to 91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative since 1982.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's matchup between the Buffalo Sabres and the Edmonton Oilers. Starting in goal tonight for the Sabres is Jonas Enroth, as Michael Neuwirth is once again hurt for the Sabres. While for Edmonton, it'll be Victor Bost. I don't know how to say his name because there's an H after the T. However, there's an S before the T in his last name. Anyways, the puck has dropped and we are underway here. And right out the bat, the puck will be taken by Nugent Hopkins. And yes, Nugent Hopkins goes down to the ice. And I think he has hurt his shoulder. Now the puck is loose, and Zemgus Girgensons is skating around on the ice like he's still skating in the All-Star Game competition. Not sure what that's about there. Here's Edmonton's Justin Schultz with the puck. His shot is wide. Nikita Zadorov has yet to show up at Sabres practice yet, and we believe Rasmus Ristolainen has joined him. Zadorov just tweeted a picture of both of them playing this game right now on NHL 15. Schultz gets the puck again, fires a shot wide. Now Jonas Enroth is skating behind his net to the Zamboni door entrance, and it looks like he's got to go to the bathroom. The door is open, and now he runs down the tunnel, and the Sabres net is wide open. Here's Justin Schultz again, in the slot. His shot, and it's wide. Derek Roy steps onto the ice now, and he skates over to the sideboards and is now flirting with a girl in the front row. She looks kind of cute. Stay away from him! You don't know what you're getting into! Drew Stafford's nowhere to be seen on the bench or on the ice, as usual. Is that Philly Leno on the bench? What is he doing here? Matt Hackett now steps onto the ice for the Sabres, and now he goes down to the ice, and he can't move. Matt Hackett can't move his knees. I think it's the cold temperatures. His knees just froze, and now he's sitting on the ice not knowing what to do. And they sent me here telling me that this game was going to be a good one. Anyways, here's Schultz again, and his shot goes wide. And now players whistle down as Pat Coletta is chasing Jordan Eberle around with a broken stick. Oh dear. We'll be right back with more hockey in just a moment. 3:42 left to go here in the third period, and the score remains 0-0. What a game this has been so far, as both teams only have 4 shots combined in the game. In case you're just joining us, Patrick Coletta was ejected for a stick attack on Jordan Eberle in the first period. Luke Gazdic retaliated by biting off the ear of Torrey Mitchell. Andrei Makarov is in net for the Sabres after getting recalled halfway through this game. Nail Yakupov has decided to return back home to Russia. Tyler Myers left and apparently went to visit his cousin in the giraffe exhibit at the Edmonton Zoo. Jeff Petrie was traded midway through this game. Zemgus Girgensons is still skating in circles out there. Derek Roy is now up at the 300 level flirting with some other girl. And Victor, whatever his last name is taking a nap with Ben Scrivens in the penalty box. Oilers' net is empty, and Ville Leno has taken his first shift of the game for the Sabres. Here's Schultz with the puck again, and his shot goes wide. Taylor Hall has been in the locker room since the second period watching the game on the TV in his locker stall. Jonas Enroth has yet to return to the game after going to the bathroom early in the first. Schultz again with the shot, and he fires it wide. And now Ville Leno has the puck. Leno skating into the Oilers zone. Leno, with the net empty, could win it for the Sabres. They're going to score. No. Leno passes the puck. The puck is trickling back to the Sabres' end. Makarov is too busy taking a selfie, and the puck is in. The Oilers have scored a goal. They're arguing that the goal should count as a goal for the Sabres, but they're not going to win that one. No, sir. The Oilers take the lead 1-0, and Edmonton's going to win the game. Wow. And now Buffalo has just bought out Ville Leno. Again. What a game.
What does it mean to be truly alternative? It means not being afraid to go outside the box.
Traveling in the world of my creation, what we'll see will define explanation.
To play stuff you won't hear anywhere else. building the ground floor for what is heard.
Being the pulse of the music industry and local music scene.
We are Tom Connolly, Andrew Catt,
Rich Cumston, Chris Curran,
and so many more.
I am 91.3 FM WBNY.
We are 91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative, Buffalo's best alternative, and we don't suck.
Yeah, this is DJ Typical here on your typical radio station. You just heard a song from the band Nickelback there. Coming up, we've got some more radical tunes coming your way. You'll hear some tunes from artists like U2, Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber, Lady Gaga, One Direction, Nicki Minaj, and K $Ha. Coming up just right around the corner.
Hey, DJ Typical, eat a Snickers!
Why, man?
Because you play some really crappy music when you're hungry. Better?
Better. You're listening to Buffalo's original alternative, 91.3 FM WBNY, where we don't play crappy music. We play the best and most original alternative music, just like this.
91.3 FM WBNY Buffalo would like to present Week of the Warriors from 10 p.m. Sunday, March 22nd. We will be having DJs go 24 hours straight for an entire week. That's 7 days to help raise awareness against domestic violence. There will be a ton of interviews, including Glorified Thursday, which will be a day full of bands coming in and playing over the air, just like our glorified rehearsals on the local show. Kicking it off Wednesday night at 10 p.m. with Legion Reed and the Sleepy Ha-Has. Join us for the Week of the Warriors here on 91.3 FM WBNY Buffalo. 91.3 FM WBNY presents Jazz 3 to 6 p.m. every Friday, bringing you the classic jazz hits as well as the new ones. Coltrane, Mingus, Parker, Miles Davis, we play them all. With a new theme every week, we promise to give you a diversity of jazz from show to show. So join me, Nick Lippa, and Craig Abraham as my co-host as we reach out to you every Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. on 91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative since 1982. Your source for some afternoon jazz. Are you depressed? Are you sad? Do you have little to no Chad Kruger in a frame in your life? Come on down to 1000 Nickelback Lane and visit Kosmowski Frames. Kosmowski, what? We'll help you get over your low self-esteem, parents' divorce, erection lasting longer than 4 hours, dead cat, missing brother, or senile grandma. Buy a framed photograph of Chad Kruger holding a photograph. Say what? A photograph, only $10. Sold at Kosmowski Frames. We guarantee every time you look at it, it'll make you laugh.
Charles Wong holds high places. You gots know his job. Went on to draft the prodigy, Brock Nelson for the heart. Yeah, Brock Nelson for the heart.
Tavares and Nakposo, each must know his part. Get the puck to Nelson. Brock Nelson for the heart. Brock Nelson for the heart.
Crosby and Ovechkin know how to handle the puck, but they are no comparison. Brock Nelson for the heart. Brock Nelson for the heart.
Nelson. Nelson moving well into the Dallas zone with a slump shot. He scores! Beautiful play by Brock Nelson. Meanwhile, this comes over. He scores!
Just how good is Brock Nelson? I'll tell you how good he is. He's like the hot sauce in my New England clam chowder. He is the best. To acquire Brock Nelson, I would have to give up Patrice Bergeron, Zdeno Chara, and 5 first-round picks.
And the fans are in awe when he's walking down the hall. Need Nelson for destiny. He only plays his part. Brock Nelson for the heart. Brock Nelson for the heart. Brock Nelson for the heart. Brock Nelson, 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 Brock Nelson for the heart.